Before we begin, a quick safety note. Medical safety disclaimer. English. This video is for education, not personal medical advice. If you have diabetes, pre-diabetes, fatty liver disease, kidney disease, a history of kidney stones, gout, or you take insulin, sulfonylureas, blood thinners, or other prescription medications, talk with your clinician before changing your diet. Don't stop or adjust medications on your own. Seek urgent care for severe symptoms like confusion, fainting, chest pain, or signs of very low blood sugar. All right, now let me say something that might sound a little wrong at first. You've heard it a million times. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Most people hear that and think, great fruit equals healthy. So they snack on grapes. They sip orange juice. They keep a big fruit bowl on the counter like it's a health insurance policy. But here's the question that matters, especially if you're over 60. What if your fruit habit is quietly feeding the exact problems you're trying to avoid? Blood sugar swings, belly fat that won't budge, fatty liver, rising A1C, triglycerides creeping up. And if you're thinking, Doc, it's fruit, not candy, I get it. I'm not here to demonize fruit. I'm here to separate myths from metabolism and give you a smarter plan that actually works in real life. Because in the U.S., the numbers are honestly shocking. According to the CDC, 38.0% of U.S. adults have prediabetes. That's almost 1 in 3 adults. And among adults 65 and older, it's 48.8%, basically about half of seniors. The CDC also reports 38.1 million U.S. adults have diabetes, which is 14.7% of all adults. And the percentage rises with age reaching 29.2% among those 65 plus. And obesity, the CDC data brief shows adult obesity prevalence around 40.3% during AUG 2021, AUG 2023. So when we talk about fruit sugar, we're not having a cute nutrition debate. We're talking about the metabolic reality of tens of millions of people. Now, let's clean up the confusion. Fruit sugar versus added sugar. Not identical, but not irrelevant either. Fruit is not a cookie. Whole fruit comes with water, fiber, vitamins, and plant compounds. That matters. But here's the part many people miss: your liver and your blood sugar don't grade on intention. They grade on total load. And there's a reason I'm focusing on this for people over 60. As we age, we tend to lose muscle if we're not actively protecting it. Muscle is one of your best blood sugar sponges. Less muscle often means you handle sugar worse than you used to, even if you eat clean. So if your breakfast is fruit and yogurt, lunch is a salad, and your snacks are fruit, you may be doing something that feels healthy, but still drives glucose and insulin higher than you realize. And I'll make it practical, not theoretical. A very common healthy day that backfires after 60. Let me paint a picture I see all the time. Details changed to protect privacy. Linda, 66, tells me, Doc, I don't eat junk. I snack on fruit. I drink juice. I'm trying to be good. Her typical day looked like this. Morning, oatmeal plus banana plus orange juice. Snack, grapes. Afternoon, heart-healthy, granola bar. Dinner, normal meal. Dessert, fruit. She wasn't binging. She wasn't eating candy. She honestly thought she was doing the right thing. But her labs showed prediabetes trending toward diabetes. Her triglycerides were up, and imaging suggested fatty liver. This is the moment where I ask a simple question. If we kept everything the same, but changed how you use fruit, would your numbers change? In many people, the answer is yes, sometimes faster than they expect. Not because fruit is poison, but because the way we eat fruit in modern America is not how nature packaged it. The fruit in your kitchen is not the fruit your grandparents grew up with. Historically, fruit was seasonal. You'd get it for part of the year in smaller varieties, and you'd walk a lot more to live your life. Now, fruit is available 24/7. It's bred to be sweeter. And we've also turned fruit into liquids, juice, and smoothies, which is basically speed-running sugar into your bloodstream without much chewing. The dietary guidelines for Americans emphasize fruit, especially whole fruit, as part of a healthy eating pattern. They also point out that about 80% of Americans don't meet fruit recommendations, and almost 90% don't meet vegetable recommendations. So I'm not telling the average person who eats zero produce to fear an apple. I'm talking to a specific group adults over 60 with metabolic risk. Belly fat, prediabetes, fatty liver, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, or a family history of diabetes. For you, fruit needs a strategy, not a free pass. Here's the key idea. Glycemic index is not enough. Think glycemic load. A lot of people say, but fruit has a low glycemic index. Sometimes, but here's the catch. Glycemic index is how fast a food raises blood sugar. Glycemic load is how much it raises blood sugar based on the portion you actually eat. A small portion of berries? Usually fine. A big bowl of grapes? Different story. A tall glass of juice? Whole different universe. What about fructose? Why your liver cares. Fruit contains fructose. Not just fructose, but fructose is the piece that's often misunderstood. Your body can use glucose broadly, but fructose is handled largely by the liver. And when the total load is high, the liver can convert more of that into fat. That's one reason high intakes of sugary drinks are strongly linked with fatty liver and metabolic problems. And we need to talk about fatty liver, because it's not rare anymore. A major JAMA Network open modeling study estimated U.S. prevalence of MACILD, the newer term closely related to NAFLD, at 33.7% in 2020, and projected increases over time. And a JAMA review notes MACILD affects about 30–40% of the general adult population globally, and approximately 60–70% of individuals with type 2 diabetes. So if you're over 60 and you have diabetes, the odds that your liver is involved are not small. Okay, doc, so should I just quit fruit? Not automatically, not dramatically, and definitely not with a fear mindset. Instead, I want you to do something much smarter. Treat fruit like a targeted tool dose matters, timing matters, and the form matters. Here's the plan I recommend for many adults over 60 who are trying to improve sugar and liver markers. The Fruit Smart rules. Simple, realistic, and not miserable. Rule 1. Whole fruit beats liquid fruit almost every time. Juice and many smoothies remove the natural speed bumps of chewing and fiber. If you love smoothies, keep the portion small, include protein, and don't make it a sugar bomb. Rule 2. Fruit works best after protein, not as a standalone snack. Fruit by itself can be a fast hit of sugar, especially if you're insulin resistant. But fruit after a meal with protein, healthy fats, and fiber? Much gentler. Rule 3. Pick fruit that gives you the most nutrition for the least sugar load. Berries are usually the MVP here. Rule 4. Portion is the secret sauce. If you're struggling with A1C, fatty liver, triglycerides, or belly fat, the difference between healthy fruit and too much fruit is often just portion size. Rule 5. Avoid the stealth sugar fruit traps. Dried fruit, fruit snacks, natural fruit gummies, big smoothie bowls. These are easy to overdo, Now let's put numbers on this because you asked for data. Sugar reality. How much are you actually getting? A medium banana can land around the mid-20 grams of carbs, depending on size. A cup of grapes can be surprisingly high in sugar. A glass of orange juice can deliver sugar fast, without making you feel full. And while added sugar is not the same as fruit sugar, the body still has to handle total sugar load. The American Heart Association recommends limiting added sugars to no more than 25 grams a day for most women and 36 grams per day for most men. Now again, fruit sugar isn't labeled added sugar, but this gives you a reality check for how quickly sweet foods can pile up in a day. The part everyone wants to know. If I change this, what % of people get better? Let me be careful here because I'm not going to sell false certainty. It depends on your starting point, your consistency, and whether you're also addressing overall calories, protein, strength training, sleep, and alcohol. But we do have solid evidence that lifestyle changes can improve these conditions in a meaningful percentage of people. For fatty liver, research reviews note that weight loss of at least 5% can improve fatty liver, and 7 to 10% weight loss can improve inflammation, NASH, and even fibrosis in some people. An AASLD educational review summarizes that 5 to 10% weight reduction is associated with significant improvements, and weight loss over 10% has been linked with very high rates of improvement in steatohepatitis in clinical contexts. For diabetes risk, the Diabetes Prevention Program showed that an intensive lifestyle program reduced progression to type 2 diabetes by 58% in people at high risk over about 3 years. And for type 2 diabetes remission, in the direct trial program, remission was reported around 36% at 2 years in the main trial results. So what's a realistic expectation? If you're a 60-plus adult with prediabetes or fatty liver and you consistently reduce excess sugar load, improve protein intake, and lose even a modest amount of weight, it is very realistic to see measurable improvements in labs and symptoms over months. But no ethical clinician can promise a guaranteed % for an individual. What I can say is, your odds get much better when you stop treating fruit like unlimited health candy and start treating it like a measured tool. A gentle but powerful 14-day reset, great for people over 60. If you want a simple experiment, something you can actually stick to, try this for 2 weeks. For 14 days, do this. You eat vegetables freely, especially non-starchy vegetables. You keep fruit to 1 small serving a day, or you take a break from fruit entirely if your A1C is high and your doctor agrees. If you do eat fruit, make it one of these choices most days. Berries, kiwi in a small portion, or a small apple, always after a meal, not by itself. You avoid juice, dried fruit, and large smoothies during the reset. And you do one more thing that's wildly important after 60. You add protein to breakfast. Because many fruit-heavy days are also protein-light days. And that combination high sugar load, low protein can increase cravings and make it harder to maintain muscle. The kiwi and kidney stone conversation, quick but important. Kiwi is nutrient-dense, and it's known for vitamin C. But if you're prone to kidney stones or you've been told you need to watch oxalates, it may not be your best daily choice. If that's you, don't ask your clinician what type of stone you form and what your personalized guidance should be. Doc, what about the vitamins in fruit? Yes, fruit has vitamin C and many helpful phytonutrients. But here's the thing. Those nutrients are not exclusive to fruit. You can get a lot of the same protective compounds from vegetables, especially colorful ones. Peppers, broccoli, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, often with a lower sugar load. And the dietary guidelines highlight something most people don't love hearing. We're under-eating both fruits and vegetables, but vegetables are the bigger gap in most Americans. So if you're going to go after one habit that improves health after 60, it's usually this. Build your plate around vegetables and protein first. Then, if fruit fits, use it strategically. One more story, because this is where the aha happens. A man I'll call Robert, 71, details changed for privacy, told me, "Doc, I thought fruit was my safe snack. I was basically living on it between meals. We didn't do anything extreme. No weird cleanse. We just switched his snacks from fruit alone to a small protein snack like Greek yogurt or nuts, and moved fruit to after lunch or dinner and kept it to one serving. Within a few weeks, he said something I hear constantly. I'm not as hungry at 3 p.m. anymore." That's the hidden win for a lot of people. When you stop spiking and crashing, cravings calm down. So, that is the bottom line. If you're 25, active, lean, and metabolically healthy, fruit is rarely the hill to die on. But if you're over 60, and especially if you have prediabetes, diabetes, fatty liver, high triglycerides, or stubborn belly fat, then fruit needs boundaries. Not fear, not drama, boundaries. Vegetables are your foundation. Protein protects your muscle. And fruit? Fruit is a tool best used whole, in a reasonable portion, usually after a meal. If you want, in the next video, I can break down glycemic load with a simple visual, because once you understand it, you'll never look at a big bowl of fruit the same way again.